am Alan Brito from Blender 3D Architect, and in today's video I have something different planned. I want to give you an idea of the evolution of Blender, give you an example of how to do a few tasks in an older version of Blender, because today I have here Blender 4.0, the beta version. Not sure if you are aware. The beta version of Blender was out about 2 days ago. In case you are using the alpha, you are still using the alpha, you can download the beta version, which will probably be the same version that will come out in late November, the final version, stable version of Blender 4.0. And it has all of the latest features, user interface improvements. Not sure if you are aware, but we have here a new font face specifically designed for user interfaces, which is great. But where did it came from? What was the first steps of Blender? Not sure what was your first version of Blender. I started using Blender in version 2.35 or 6, if I'm not mistaken. And it came a long way. So what I have here today is this. Let me show you Blender 1.8. Yeah, look, for me, I'm not sure about you, but for me, this is basically the same software. Aside from the colors, it's basically the same thing. And this is not the oldest version of Blender. This is the oldest that I can run on Windows. And as a way to give you an idea of how it was to use Blender back there, I'll be doing a little exercise, modeling exercise in this version of Blender. So be aware that a few things will work the same way that we have in Blender 4.0. A few things will not work because they were different back there. So are you ready? Let's get started. This is an exercise that I usually do when I have, for instance, an opportunity to give a workshop or teach a lesson about 3D modeling with Blender. This is one of the first exercises that I do, which is the modeling of a chair. I usually do that. This is the same exercise that is present in my books and workshops. I do this as a introductory exercise for 3D modeling. So let's get started to use Blender 1.8 to do this. So basic 3D navigation works in a similar way. You can use the middle mouse button to orbit your scene. You can use the numeric keypad to set your orthographic views. You can change your projection with the numpad 5. This works the same way. I can't use my wheel, my mouse wheel. I have to use my plus and minus keys to zoom in and out. But you can use the control and the middle mouse button to zoom in and out. Shift middle mouse button still do the same thing. And you can go into your active camera by pressing the 0 on your numeric keypad. And here's something different. When you started Blender 1.8, we have even a different address for the Blender, blender.nl. I think it was before it became a foundation. If you know if this is still if this is the old version, the old address for the Blender Foundation website, please add this comment here if that was the old address. Now, how can we remove this plane? If you try to delete that using the delete key on your keyboard, it won't do anything. You have to use the X. This will remove the plane. And we can add a cube in that location. If you press Shift A, it does the same thing, but of course with a different menu. We have here the option to add a mesh, and we have an option here to add a cube. And by the way, if you want to create your objects aligned with your orthographic view, you have to set your view to something like top. So I will press the 7 key, press Shift A. You can also use the Alt R, Alt G, and Alt S to clear your transformations. It will do something similar. And one of the major differences here that we'll find when trying to use these old versions is that it's before Blender 2.8. So to select anything here, you have to use the right mouse button. The tab key will switch from object to edit mode. And let's try something different. Another thing that is quite different here, in case you are, if you want to try to do this exact same exercise, is that if you want to apply a transformation and constrain that to an axis, for instance, if I want to type G to move my object, it works the same way. But if I press the Z key, it will not constrain to the Z axis. So how it worked back there? At the time, in this version, you have to place your mouse in the direction that you want to move, and then you will press the middle mouse button. This will lock your transformation to that axis. It doesn't work all the time. In a few transformations, it fails to capture the exact same angle or axis that I'm trying to use. So let's try that with the y-axis or G. Here it is. It's locking to the, I think this is the x-axis. Let's try with the Y. G, I will place my mouse here, middle mouse button. Look, it failed. It didn't get. Let's try to move my. Now it's moving on the Y-axis. Press ESC to cancel. So let's try to create our chair. I will apply a scale here in the Z-axis. So S. To apply a scale, I will place my mouse here and use the middle mouse button. You can see it failed to capture the axis. Let's try a different angle. S. Now it captured. It's working correctly on the Z axis. I will press the Control key to lock my transformation or to use the grid. Let's go into edit mode, pressing Tab. I will select the 4 vertices, press the E key to extrude. I will lock my extrude to the X axis with the middle mouse button. Press Ctrl and Shift so I can. I'll be using 0.2. If I type 0.2 here, it doesn't work. If I use the Z key, it will switch from wireframe to solid. Extrude. Control Shift. I will do the same thing here. Let's select this 4 vertices. 0.2. You can keep up with the length of my extrude here on the status bar. Extrude again. Middle mouse button to lock it in the y-axis. The y-axis, the axis here has a blue color. It's not green. And I will do some extrudes here from the bottom. If I select all of my vertices here and try to extrude just the faces, it doesn't work. It will extrude all of the faces, including this one at the center. That's why I will be doing each one of them separately. Extrude, middle mouse button, Control. I want to use a 2 units. Let's do this with this here again. Middle mouse button. Press and hold the Shift key. Extrude. Extrude. And now I can do the back seat, the backrest of my chair. I will be doing 3 extrudes, one with 1 unit. Extrude again. 2 units. Extrude again. 0.2. And I'll be doing the same thing on the other side. Extrude. 1 unit, 1 unit, extrude again, 2, extrude again. And now I will remove this face. We don't have the bridge here yet, so I can't connect them. And for this, I will be doing an extrude, middle mouse button to lock my extrude, press and hold the Control key. Now I will be pressing the A key 1, 2 times to select all my vertices, and here on my panel, I can look for the remove doubles. Yeah, the old remove doubles. Removed 4 vertices. So that's it. We have the chair ready here in Blender 1.8. I know you are probably thinking the same thing that as me right now. It's basically the same software. Nothing changed. I don't know what they are doing there at the Blender Foundation, or all of those developers that took over from Blender 1.8 until we get there to Blender 4.0. I hope it was interesting. If you started, please share with us what was your first version of Blender when you started using the software here in the comments. For me, it was Blender 2.35 or 36, I'm not sure, but it was around that time. I hope you liked this, and of course, download Blender 4.0, the beta version, and start using the latest version, the latest features and updates. And in case you want to try the same thing, I don't recommend that, but in case you want to download Blender 1.8, I will be sharing here and in the video description a link where you can download any version of Blender, even this one here, 1.8. It's a link that will get you a list of all existing Blender versions. If you liked this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to keep up with more content. See you next time.